Hey everyone, it's Ivan with KidBadger.com, out here with my posse,
Ira, Jada,
Tiny and Knuckles, and here to tell you about the Varusteleka Remote Military March of 2020. If you're unfamiliar with Varusteleka, they are a Finnish company. They make some pretty rad stuff, to include this. And yeah, they're over there in Finland. They make all kinds of kind of military outdoor related gear, and a number of their people there are in the Finnish military. I believe kind of their like active reserve, more or less. I want to say compulsory service. And while we are fortunate in the US to be bordered by oceans, they share a pretty big border with Russia, who has a pretty good track record of doing some shady stuff. So to that end, they constantly remain in a pretty high state of readiness. Because of everything that's gone on this spring of 2020, i.e. coronavirus, stuff along those lines, they can't get out and do the normal training they would do. So they ended up organizing a remote military march. The way the remote military march was set up is there's basically 3 different divisions. First being military, need to do it in military clothing with military boots. Or there was an open division where you could wear pretty much anything. And then there was also the COVID division where military uniform, military boots with a gas mask, or if you want to be technical, field protective mask. And through all of it, you had to have a pack that had to weigh at least 10 kilograms, about 22 pounds. And you had to cover 1 of 2 distances. There was either the 25 kilometer or the 50 kilometer. And 25 kilometers is about 15 and a half miles, essentially. And then double that, obviously, for the 50 kilometers. So, loaded this guy up and took my posse, met up with one of my good friends, Matt from Jerking the Trigger, and we headed out for 25 kilometers. We're about to start, Ira. What do you have to say?
I really want to bring in that. I'm excited.
You seem excited. What about you, Jada?
I want to try to catch a fish. My hands. Or my
We'll
face
see
like
about
a bear.
that. About to step off. We will we'll see what happens on this adventure.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
Or if we don't find the armor.
So, that bend there, it's going to go that way and then cut back. We'll be able to see it from the road. There's often eagles fishing on this bend, so we'll have to keep our eyes out.
Why?
It's a good open spot for them to fish for trout.
Hey, Dad. Dad.
This is what I do. I put it down here and then I push, and it helps add forward momentum. Now that hole's a little high for you. We could buy
Deer.
I wonder who shot that.
1, 2, 3.
You feel the temperature drop when you come down into it.
A little bit of rain.
The first part of the hike, I think I liked the most because we got to go on a straight road that wasn't really uphill, like you couldn't really feel it. And then while we were walking on the road, we took a few breaks, which was fun.
Why is it called trail mix?
Because they stuffed some dirt in there. Part of the trail. They stuffed some part of the trail in the
Possible.
And that's Then it started raining on us. So then we put on our rain jackets and kept walking. And then when we got to the trailhead, we started going, and then there was a bunch of mud, and then we had to climb on logs and walk on them to avoid it. And then at the last part, we, I got, at the end, I tried to walk through some really a bunch of mud, and one of my shoes got really wet. After that, when it dried off, we hiked up to the waterfall, and we looked at it, and it was a really pretty view.
It's not worth trying to start
And yeah.
over the top right now.
Mm-hmm.
So when we got to the waterfall, we set our packs down and Dad gave us a challenge. If we could light a fire in 10 minutes and keep it going for 10 minutes, he would give us $10. So we worked on that for a while.
Jenna, you want me to show you a tip?
He has some. You go, Ira.
Oh, I need lighter.
It's down by your feet. Getting some good sparks in there, Ira.
I got burned like 3 times. My thumb got burned like 3 times trying to do it, but it didn't hurt too bad. And eventually me and my brother each got our separate fires going. And we ended up eating some beef jerky and then roasting some marshmallows.
Thanks for sharing your marshmallows, gents.
That's good.
And our friend Matt, he brought some cookies, so we made like s'mores, except the marshmallow was inside the 2 cookies, which was really good. And then we left after we put out our fires.
Love you too. After we kind of recharged a little bit at the waterfall, had an early lunch basically, even though it was only about 7 miles, which just shy of halfway for our 25K. Turned around, started heading back. And was it raining on us?
Yeah, it rained.
Yeah, like it kind of just light drizzle at first, and then on the way back, started a little bit more in earnest, and we never really got out of it. I'd say like a good 2/3 of the entire evolution, it was drizzling, if not raining on us. For it, as we headed down, the miles kind of started to stack up more and more as we were going. And were there some rough spots, boys?
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely some tears at some different points. You guys have to dig deep? Find that motivation?
$20.
That's right. So what was the deal if you completed the remote military march, the 25 kilometers?
We would get $20. That's our motivation.
Their motivation was
$20.
$20 because you were $20 short of what?
60.
Well, $20 short. What were you going to buy with the $20 that you're missing?
20 Pokemon packs.
Yeah. They're basically going to go in and split a booster box of Pokemon. So they had to dig deep to earn it. But we ended up going back and covered the rest of those miles. We ended up passing basically where we were going to be at, like our end goal, the car. And because we hadn't reached our 25 kilometers yet, we ended up going a bit further. And I underestimated our distance out. So then we came back, we had to pass the car again and go even further, which was honestly pretty much a morale killer. But that was our 25 kilometers, and that was the furthest you guys have ever gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What was the furthest you guys had gone before that?
Like
12
12 and a
miles.
half.
Yeah.
Because we got lost partially.
Right around 12 miles, which was the Haleakala crater over on Maui. And that time you guys didn't have packs. Well, you guys were in flip-flops and they didn't have packs. This time you guys had packs. They weren't super heavy. I think you guys had warming layers, rain layers, and snacks mainly. Mm-hmm. And yeah, as far as the gear in my pack, I ended up running this. I ended up loading up this pack right here, the Shadow Pack by Prometheus Design Works, and I needed to make weight, 10 kilograms. And I wanted to actually have like useful stuff with respect to that remote military march. So here's what it was loaded with. In the main pouch, I had the Sugar Weasel by Q, 300 Blackout with the Law Tactical folder. Inside there, I also had my Thunder Chicken silencer, had the Spirit of Systems Microfight chest rig, 3 spare mags of 300 Blackout, had a stereo pin for water purification, also had a set of binos, had some comms, Baofeng radio, had 2 insulated water bottles, had a poncho, a couple things of instant coffee. I had some Shaka Cola chocolate, this stuff's pretty rad. Also had a spare set of socks, a little kind of ground sleeping pad that's been cut down, and my Varusteleka giant knife. I believe it's the Terra Skarma, probably mispronounced. Overall, I think the remote military march, it was pretty cool. I think it was neat that Varusteleka put it on, and they encouraged everyone to post, share it on social media, Instagram, stuff like that, tag them, and then they're actually sending out patches, basically, for this 2020 remote military march. And you boys most certainly earned those patches. So excited to get them. Having done that now, 25 kilometers, what do you guys think? Did you learn anything over that?
Yes, I did.
What did you learn?
Is that 25 kilometers is very hard to hike. And I probably could not do it in flip-flops. Actually, it would probably be a lot easier, maybe. I don't know.
I learned that flat roads can feel flat, except they actually go up.
It's true. Most of the way up was largely on like maintained gravel dirt road, and it was a slight uphill, which wasn't bad, but definitely added to it. For that, I ended up wearing my limbs also, my limbs boulder boots, the all leather ones. Fortunately, I'd treated them with some waterproofing and my feet stayed pretty dry. Unlike your shoes that you're wearing, were your feet wet too?
Oh, not really. They got wet like barely, just like a
Tiny
little
bit.
bit, and then nothing and then dried and nothing really.
Yeah.
Except the rain just.
I don't know.
Pat it on.
Overall, it was an awesome experience, and anytime you get out there, it's always good. One, it's good to challenge yourself. These guys completed something they had never done to date, which is pretty impressive. Honestly, most adults probably couldn't do that, and these guys did it. Super proud of them. And anytime you get out there, yeah, it gives you ability to test yourself and work on skills like the 10-minute fire challenge, which was pretty cool to see. They had to do it with ferro rods and they got it. There was some frustration there for a minute, but they still got it. So overall, awesome experience and glad to share it with these guys. But as always, thanks for joining us at kitbadger.com. Look forward to seeing you next time.